Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How is everybody? Welcome to another episode of Roll Around, Find Out. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about my current favorite system, Nimble, for 5th edition. It's sort of a 5th edition hack. It wrapped up its backer kit not too long ago, so it is in the post-funding but pre-production phase. And right away, a beta, I guess, was released of it. And I didn't check that out, but I got an email stating that there was big revisions. There were big revisions to it. And so I do want to go and check those out. It's something I'm very excited about. And if you were to ask me, Heath, do you want to run or play in a 5th edition campaign? I would say no. There are other things I would rather run. Knave being one of them. Mothership being my number one. Along the Ley Line is in that list. Other systems, my Final Fantasy, Omega Fantasy 2, and the list goes on and on. Of things I would rather try. Again, I hate on D&D. I don't hate it, but I feel like been there, done that. What else is out there? Bare Bones Fantasy, that does not get the love that it deserves. That should be in so many people's conversation of D&D replacements. But yeah, so we're going to dig into that. But first, we're going to go into the mailbag section where I talk about things that I have physically received in the mail or physically printed off myself. And I might have shown this before, but I wanted to talk about it. Knave 2nd edition. The art on this is fantastic. The rule system is fantastic. If you are new to role-playing games, I highly recommend you check out Knave. Certainly there are simpler games. I've created a simpler game. But if you want to get that OSR rules light experience, Knave is where it's at. Awesome design, Ben Milton. I don't know if he's won any awards for this, but you know, he's in the circle of YouTubers that are content creators and product creators, and he's just doing awesome stuff. He's been nothing but a positive for the TTRPG community. So, why do I have this out? Well, by the time this airs, the itch.io Knave Jam will be long over. But I'm currently maybe casually writing an adventure for it. I want to make a trifold adventure for it, because as far as I know, there's not one of those for Knave. Mothership is huge on that. Mouse Ritter has a handful of those. But as far as I've seen, Knave doesn't have many. However, where I'm kind of hitting a barrier is making it specific to Knave. I've got a story plot outline. I've got some paragraphs written. But then to specifically say, okay, make a Constitution check and greater than 12 or plus succeeds. And I've never played a game of Knave. I have run for my middle school students Knave, but that's very loosey-goosey. So I'm being blunt, I don't have the confidence in saying, yes, this is Knave compatible. Knave adjacent, I'm fine with, but Knave compatible. But great stuff, worth the money, worth the PDF. I think, kudos to him. He's made a very successful product, so make that money. I think the PDF is $10. You can go find Knave 1st edition for free, I think, or like $2 or $3. I know there are hacks out there that are free. The only thing, because I'm a hater, the only thing that I don't like about Knave is the character creation process. And so if you only know Knave from Knave 2nd edition, take this for what it's worth. So when doing ability scores in second edition, it says here you can basically do a point buy. Distribute 3 points between your PC's ability scores. More than 1 point can be placed in the same score, or well, hang on, we'll pause it there. Okay, so if I go to the character sheet, you can choose to put 3 in your strength, 3 in your dexterity, or 1, however you want to spread it out. You can do that. And that is, without a doubt, the fastest way to make a character. It's not like, well, if you already have 1 point and now you want to add a second, then that's 2 points. There's no math in there. I mean, well, sure, 1 plus 1, but boom, right away. Character stats done. The second option, I don't know why anybody would do this. I guess if you want to randomize it, but it doesn't suit me. If you love it, I'm not knocking what you're doing. It just, for me, it doesn't make sense. So it says here, or let fate decide by rolling 3d6, with each die adding 1 to the ability score matching the number it rolled. Okay, I'm going to read that again. Roll 3d6, with each die adding 1 to the ability score matching the number it rolled. So, in the example, I love that he has an example, because I don't think I would understand what that means. Rolling 3-5-5 means Constitution, the third ability, Strength, Dexterity, Constitution. Okay. Nowhere do you get that in the PC creation paragraph. 3-5-5 means Constitution, the third ability is 1, and Wisdom, the fifth ability, is 2. All other abilities have a score of 0. I guess that's because 3-5-5, the 2 5s, that's why it gets 2. So are there 6 abilities? Actually, now that I think about it that way, see, this is why I love this podcast. This makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you were 1-1-1, okay. Wow, I'm not even going to re-record this. You found out in real time that I actually kind of like that now. When I read the example, I was like, why do I have to go down 3 and then that is 1? Oh, okay, I get it. You roll 3 dice and then, okay, 2, point. Oh, I had another 2? Okay, so I guess that's 2. And then it was a 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right. Wow, you may be like, Heath, you're an idiot. And I would say, yes, I am. And that's why I do this podcast, to show that I'm an average Joe. And I figured it out real time. You saw that. Okay, so I like that. I will still say that I like the original way better. And I have it pulled up on my computer here. Maybe I'll add a little screenshot of it. But this is what I liked. It says roll 3d6 for each of their abilities in order. Okay, so there are, as I found out, there are 6 stats. So that is 6 sets of 3. And I bet, Ben Milton, he thought we can speed this process up. And sure enough, you only have to roll 3 dice 1 time, as opposed to 3 dice 6 times. But I'll finish reading it. Roll 3d6 for each of their abilities in order. The lowest of the 3 dice on each roll is that ability's bonus. I had never read something that said take the lowest number, so I liked that. It encouraged you to roll high. Everybody wants to roll high, so I liked that. But I guess in the new method, you want to roll in doubles or triples to get that stat higher. So, okay, all right. And then it does say add 10 to find its defense, which is like a saving throw. But I'm pretty sure saving throws get the same bonus as whatever your stat roll is. Let me go back to my camera. I'm on like a weird angle here. The setup here is not great, but I know you don't care. because I wouldn't. Secondary stats. PC start at level 1 with 0 XP. They have 10 plus Constitution item slots. Armor. Record careers. Yeah, I don't see saving throws in here. I think it's just whatever your stat is, that's just the bonus you get. And that, to me, that just makes sense. Okay. And then another huge thing, I'm going in more depth than I wanted to, but another thing I love is the careers. You used to have to roll dice, and then you would essentially randomly get your item. Well, here might be a little hard to read. I'm not sure, but just trust me. There's 100 careers, and they all come with items. So let's see. Roll or pick 2 careers from the list on the next page. So the goal, I know that the goal he was thinking is, how can we speed up character creation? 1 roll for abilities, 2 rolls for items, and you are ready to rock. Well, that's probably a lie. So, let's see. Weapons. Are there weapons on here? Hammer, saw, box of nails. Is there a knight? Knight. Ladies' favor, banner, signet ring. And I love that. Ladies' banner, ladies' favor? Well, what does that mean? Well, you have pleased the lady, and you may call upon her for a favor, I would believe. That's how I would read it, unless you are just God's gift to all women. But, and a signet ring. Well, what does that mean? Okay, roleplay. That's cool. But I don't know about weapons. If I wanted to read the whole thing, I'm sure I'd easily figure it out. But I don't want to. This is just mailbag. So, all right. I figured out the new system. Great. Proud of me. Yay. All right. 2 more that I want to go over. This one will be really quick. I got this for free, but I think it's probably pay now. I just happened to catch it at the right time. They were giving away the first 500 copies for free. It's called Win in Rome by Chris Ario. I'm terrible. But this is a mothership adventure, probably 2 or 3 sessions. And if you have seen Alien Romulus, you are basically reliving Alien Romulus. There are 2 identical ships. A disaster has happened. I won't spoil too much. And if you have seen Romulus, it is Alien Romulus. You are literally playing that. And the art on here, you can clearly see it's a xenomorph, and it's so cool. So go check out Win in Rome if you are a Mothership fan. It's great. All right, now this last one has a little bit of a story to it, which I'll save for another day. But my good friend Anthony gave me this book a few years ago, and I highly doubt anybody has ever seen this before. D20 Modern by Wizards of the Coast. This came out in, I'm going to guess 2002. But let me see if I can find... You can't see it, but I can. 2002. November of 2002. And this is basically Dungeons and Dragons with a modern setting. Sorry, there's a glare there. And I'll be honest, I want to say 2002. That must be 3rd edition. I'm pretty sure that's 3rd edition. Yeah, must be. And so it's kind of based around that. And I don't have the experience with 3rd edition. It's more difficult than 5th edition. I know that much. And so if I ever wanted to run a modern setting, I would probably look to this first. I do pull this off the shelf every once in a while just to think well, how much does oh yeah, look at that. That's cool. You can be this SWAT operator. Like, I want to know, like, how much does a AR-15 do? Is it the same as like a bow does in fantasy Dungeons and Dragons? So cool stuff. Thanks to Anthony for this. Love it. It's, again, I highly doubt you've ever seen it before. Oh yeah, that is. What is this? To turn in to get something? Tell us what you think about D20 Modern Role Playing Game, and you could win an autographed copy of Urban Arcana. Nice. How can you make your modern setting a little more fantasy with some magic? That's awesome. Still in there. Now it would be scan the QR code, right? Okay. Awesome. Good stuff. D20 Modern. Play every adventure you can imagine. That's what it says. All right. Went in a little too much depth there on the knave, but you know what? It is what it is. All right, let me change up everything, and then we will do the random drive-through RPG item. See you in a bit. All right. Well, in an episode not too long ago, I did my random drive-through RPG item, and I came across Honk. I don't ever remember downloading this, but it is about this five-headed Hydra goose. I actually painted it on a live stream, but my internet was very bad. So I'm not, to be honest, even now, I'm not quite sure what happened. But I printed out this goose and I painted it on the live stream. I'm going to roll in a picture of it if you care to look at it. But here's what the creator of Honk did, or a picture that somebody else did of it. And I ran it for my first session of the 2024 school year for my D&D club. And I had 40 kids show up. Now, that number is probably going to dwindle. Maybe 5-6 kids are going to drop. I'm not sure, but maybe more kids are going to add. And that was my highest number. I started with a table of 11 fifth graders. And then first day, there was lots of issues. I wasn't ready for 40 kids. One table kind of fell apart with a kid that was a DM in previous years, and I thought he could handle it, but it didn't work out. So by the end, I think I had 13 or 14 kids at my table. And I had said multiple times, like, we don't normally play in this large of numbers, but like just to everyone get a little gist of the rules. And so pretty proud of myself. I'm going to jump over to this. I have a newer edition, and this preview is pretty blurry, but my easy made-up role-playing game on DriveThruRPG, which in the last couple months has a whopping 3 downloads, which is 3 more than I expected, so awesome. I got a table of 11 fifth graders up and running in 25 minutes. These kids knew nothing about role-playing games, and that's great. I was so happy that they were there. In that 25 minutes, it also just isn't like me explaining rules and this character sheet. I'm walking around checking in on the 6 or 7 other groups that are there. So I'm like, okay, do this. And then circle back, like, okay, who got this done? Like half. Okay, well, let's, what do you need help with? Blah, blah, blah. Teacher stuff. So I was very happy with 1, my overall turnout, 2, that I got that many kids up and running and explaining the rules of if you're good at something, you roll 3 dice. If you're bad at something, you roll 1 dice and then roll 2 for everything else and only tell me the highest number. Which I got caught on. They're like, I have 2 6s. That's good, right? I'm like, I don't know. It's not. I only care about the highest number. And then some kid, thankfully, had read the instructions. And they're like, that means he criticals. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. Like, again, I am far from an even good dungeon master. I just enjoy the hobby. And so I get combat fog all the time. I numerous times will forget to have my monsters attack. I just keep going because the players are having fun. So these are things that I have to work on. So even the game I created, if you know me, that should be like no surprise. But super proud of that many kids came. And when it was all done, I can still remember this one kid, William, his face. I'm going to go home and tell my dad to buy me Dungeons and Dragons books. I'm like, oh, yes, awesome, great, love it. And then I said, well, hey, buy the starter set. The starter set's no longer available, which makes me sad. But the Essentials kit is right now like $18 on Amazon. And where I live, don't get me wrong, $18 is $18. But for most of the families where I live, sure, you want to try this new thing for $18. Well, it's cheaper than club baseball, which is $1,000. So super pumped. I'm excited to see who comes back. I'm excited to see what things these kids bring to the table. But it wouldn't have been possible without me finding Honk. Now, if you follow my recommendation and you download it, they start out at this town. What is it? I made a map for it, actually. Flockwood. And Flockwood is very tiny, but I found this map. I would love to give credit to whoever made it, but I don't know. I changed the name to Flockwood, and I said that they are journeying to Flockwood. And again, I didn't know how long character creation was going to take. It's 2 hours for the club, which everybody tells me is crazy. It's too long. Like most clubs are 1 hour. But I don't think you can get the kids settled and storytelling in 1 hour. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. It has caused issues, but that's just me venting. So anyways, I had to like give them an intro scenario. So I run it on Friday. So the day of, I'm like, okay, what's an encounter? What's an encounter that I can do? You know, I'm not going to drop the Hydra on them right now and, you know, try to explain layer actions because it's like a CR 15 monster. There are different CR levels of it. But anyways, so I remembered in ChatGPT, I had searched up something like make travel fun, and one encounter was quicksand. So this whole area that Flockwood is in is super marshy. So they work for the king, and it's a 3-week journey. 2 weeks they're in, but it's going to take 1 week to travel through this marsh that they're in. And so I said, okay, we'll make a quicksand. And one kid decided to be the scout. I said, is anybody good at tracking, good with nature? One kid said he was really smart. That's what he had wrote down. I said, okay, great. Roll your dice. He rolled 3 dice. I think he got a 5. I'm like, okay, great. You can tell that there are definitely monsters in the area. The muddy marsh that you're in, there are all sorts of tracks going in all sorts of directions. So if you want to go out and scout ahead, you can kind of set the pace, set the tone, set the travel coordinates, more or less, of travel path of where they're going. And so, sure, he did that. He found the quicksand. He reported back. But on his way back, he got hit with an arrow. And some kid asked, how big's the arrow? And I'm thinking, what? Like, don't you know what an arrow looks like? And I don't know why it came out of my mouth, but I said, it's like the size of a throwing dart. So from like 3 feet to like 3 inches. Like, oh my God, why did I say that? What have I done? And fast forwarding, even though it has to do with geese, they know that the king loves geese. There's a band of like rogue chickens. Think like Rambo. There are these like Rambo chickens monitoring this marsh that they're in. And so I said, at the end of the session, I was like, okay, well, we have to clean up soon, but I love to end on a cliffhanger. So they had made it through the marsh. They made it through the quicksand, which I'll back up and I'll explain. And I said, as you make it through the clearing of the woods, you can see there's a flock of about 30 chickens armed with bows. And these kids are like, what? Chickens with bows? That's why the arrow was so small. Like, it was great. And that's like, William, I'm telling my dad to buy me D&D books. So that was awesome. With 11, and then by the end it was 13 or 14 kids, it's tough to get that many kids involved. And so I said, okay, hey, like, look at your character sheets. What are you good at? What items do you have? How can you work as a team to solve this problem? So one kid said, I'm a really good climber. Perfect. Climb up on the trees, find the path. One kid said, I'm really fast. Okay, great. Roll 3 dice. And he was just going to run through the quicksand. Well, he got caught. He rolled, I think his highest was a 2. So he got caught. So now they had to use teamwork, and like, I have rope. And it was awesome. Not every kid was involved in it, and that made me sad. But I tried to say, like, okay, roll dice. Whoever rolls highest. Well, it was like, who wants to do this action? 6 kids raised their hand. Okay, roll dice. Who rolls highest? Add them all up. I tried to do random, but I know that at times I have gone like clockwise and counterclockwise. It was tricky. If you've never done a large group of middle schoolers, fifth grade is middle school, but 5th grade is elementary for most. It was a struggle, but at the end, I know it was good. It was a good time. So, go check out Honk. This is proving to be super awesome, and I want to reach out to the creator. Let's see if I can find his name. Edwin Dijkshorn. That's gotta be Scandinavian. What year did it? 2021. Okay, that's Edwin. Here, you right here. If you're looking, Digkshorn. It's probably like Dijkshorn. I don't know. Sorry, my last name's lighter. It's awful. I'm sorry. Okay, so I've talked about Honk like a lot. I'll roll in a picture if I haven't already done so of the 3D print that I did and the painting of it. But let's go back to Drive-Thru-RPG. And let's just scroll down until it feels right there. Okay, we have options. Imbued with Magic, Micro Dungeons, NPC Codex of Crown and Kingdom. Ooh, Starting Town. Maybe we'll do 2, but I'm definitely going to do this one. NPC Codex. Let's check and see what this is. Oh, I love this guy, Dan Coleman. Because he has one on towns that's super good. Yes. Okay, so let's do this. Printer friendly. My internet is trash, so even this will take like 20 seconds to download. And here we go. 24 pages. Let's check it out. NPCs at a glance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's extrapolate that out to 18 to 20. Okay. Let's just randomly pick one. Otto. Okay. Otto. Don't let your short nickname fool you. Otto's full name might take minutes to pronounce. This gnome can be an unnerving companion as he often finds himself lost, staring into fires, even the ones he doesn't start. Okay, so all of these NPCs. Oh, so cool. This guy does the Lord's work. Just so good. Okay, let me find... Can I control F? Auto. Yes, okay. Okay. We have pictures. We can show our players. The appearance. Everything burns. Everything. Otto's sorcerous powers manifested while he was maturing, and nothing enthralled him more than seeing his hand engulfed by flame through his own sheer will. To this day, the gnome is obsessed by fire, often testing the mettle of his foes by displays of his talents. As Otto says, everything burns. It's all a matter of finding a fire hot enough. Awesome. Personality quirks, memorable features, GM tips, stat blocks with actions. Does it have a CR? Challenge 2. Wow. I mean, this is amazing. This guy, Dan Coleman, he's amazing. Let me go back. Some stuff is paid, some stuff is free. A lot of stuff is free, I should say. He's got a lot of stuff on here. I know I talked about his town maps before. Yeah, this guy is... All right, we're going to put a pin on maybe getting Dan on. Yeah, he's awesome. Okay, well, I'm super happy I came up with that because I am going to need it this year. I plan on my Dungeons and Dragons club running a table all year. I like to just do a little scenario, couple sessions, 3, 4, 5 sessions, and then have kids run. But experience has taught me that not everybody, that doesn't work for everybody. So me running a table, I think, is something I need to do. So definitely going to download that, and everything I need is right here. This is perfect. Awesome. Okay. Let me change all my stuff around, and then we will talk about the main event of Nimble for 5th edition. All right, on to the main topic. I know I did a pretty good look into Nimble a few episodes ago. I think it was in a hodgepodge episode, but really, I am pretty pumped for this whole Nimble conversion, Nimble 5e compatible system. It is, if we look at this thumbnail here, this saved 5th edition for me, and I kind of agree with that. It's a nice fresh take on rolling a d20, and we're going to get into how the mechanics of it fit the flavor, not a formula. And I just came up with that, and that is like the theme. Dungeons and Dragons, obviously, massively successful, deserves to be so, I believe. But more or less, since 1st edition, it's pretty much the same. Now, that comes from a place of ignorance, so I get it. Third edition and 4th edition are totally different, but in my experience, take that for what it's worth, Nimble is like, hey, I know you want to roll a d20 like Dungeons and Dragons. Let's make it fit with all of the monsters and the adventures, but let's actually make a ranger feel like a ranger. Let's actually have mechanics that make sense, that are in some way, shape, or form attached to reality, versus, well, you get a short rest and all of a sudden you get hit points back, and long rest. Oh, now you have spell slots back. And again, this is coming from a place of ignorance. I've never played it. I have listened to many of these live streams from Nimble. If you are watching this and you are attuned with the YouTube, you will notice, you didn't watch any of these. There's no red history bar on the bottom. Well, I am on my Roll Around Find Out account, but my personal account, I'm a YouTube premium member, so I don't get the commercials. He just posted a new video today. I believe his name is Evan. I'll verify that later. A 10 out of 10 5th edition adventure, to be or not to be a villain. I have not seen that one. he talks about Mouse Ritter, and that's on my list of things to go over as well. I love Mouse Ritter, but we're getting into the weeds, okay? Let's dive in because I got an email the other day that Nimble had a pretty big update. They went from, I think, what he would call, beta version 1 to beta version 1.5. And I'll be honest, I really couldn't tell you the difference between 1.0 and 1.5, but I'm going to believe, yes, Evan at his word that, and per the email, that there's some pretty big changes going on. So I want to go over this and give you reasons why you would want to play it. And the pros, some cons, some things I still don't understand. But at the end of the day, I think this is worth your money. First off, if you listen to any episode, man, the art. I, I don't know. I haven't looked. I'm sure I could spend 5 seconds to look if the art is AI generated. But it just has like a awesome oil painting look to it. This right here just I backed it on BackerKit and I only got the PDF because I'm cheap. Well, I'm cheap and I want hard book or hard copies, hardcover. Words are hard. But in order to get that, it comes with all these like item cards and spell cards, and I know those are things that I don't need. And for the other option is getting a soft cover. Well, I'll just print it off myself. But the art on here is just great. I love it. Resting and downtime. Oh, okay, so we'll talk about that and see if it really is better than 5th edition. We'll go over all the classes and we're going to dive deep into the hunter because I believe that is a really good example of flavor over formula. Okay? You know what? I should tweet at Evan and say, hey, came up with this pretty awesome quote. You should steal it. Oh, you can be a bunny? I think this is maybe why I originally fell in love with it. Because I want to be a frog. I've played a turtle before, but I want to play a frog. What do we actually all have in here? A bun. What's a bunny? A dragonborn, a kobold, a tiefling, goblin orc, bird folk, a stoadling. Let's see, stoatlings may be small, but they're far from weak. With fierce determination and warrior hearts, they can take down foes many times their size. Their agility and tenacity let them exploit larger enemies' weaknesses, turning their size into a lethal advantage. Well, I don't know what that is. Whenever you make a single target attack against a creature larger than you, roll 1 additional d6 for each category it is larger. Oh, they do the same. Right? So, like, that right there is just perfect. So, I don't even know what a stoatling is, but you're small. Okay? And I think in 3rd edition, size mattered a lot more. Like, you had to have smaller weapons if you were small. That's not the case in 5th edition, at least as far as I know. But look at this. Like, based on your race, you get this completely unique mechanic. I don't think like if you're a tiefling, you get bonuses to whatever stat. Dragonborn, sure, you get fire breath, but that's like a pretty limited thing from what I know. You can be an oozling, you can be a half giant, a changeling, a celestial, a dryad, a minotaur, a turtle folk. But no frog. I guess a stoatling I would play as a frog. But okay, all right. I mean, just let's get into it. So load. You're embarrassing me, computer. All right, disclaimer. This is an unfinished beta document. More content is still in design. What are how to play, things like that, basic rules, good over that. Okay, they drop Constitution for their stats, their strength, dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. I couldn't tell you why Constitution was dropped. I believe it's important to everybody because it relates to your hit points. So they kind of just like, what would be the word? Absorb it into all the other abilities. And then, much like Dungeons and Dragons, we have skills, Arcana, Examination, Finesse, Influence, Insight, Might, Lore, Naturecraft, Perception, and Stealth. I will tell you, yesterday I was going over this, and the stat descriptions I like a lot better than the stat descriptions in the 5th edition Player's Handbook. I forgot to grab it. But like if you look up intelligence in the 5th edition Player's Handbook, it is so vague as to what that means. It's like mental acuity, being able to like be smart. That's not what it says, but there's when you read that, there's like no way people know what that means. I always describe intelligence as book smart, while wisdom is street smart. But here they give you really good examples. It affects languages, spellcasting, attunement, arcana, examination, and lore skills and will saves. Right? Bam. Specifically everything that you need. So it specifically mentions examination. So when we go down to examination, it says your aptitude for thorough analysis and deduction. Use examination to diagnose injuries, determine cause of death, uncover clues, unravel the workings of traps or mechanical devices. It also grants insight into the abilities and weaknesses of constructs. I like that they have concrete examples. Well, when do I make an examination check? And one could argue, like, I'm examining the room. I'm examining the forest. What do I see? Well, examination could be perceived as perception, but when we go down to perception, perception falls under wisdom, and it says your overall awareness ability. That doesn't sound like a real word to me. Your overall awareness ability to notice subtle details in your surroundings. Use perception to spot hidden objects, detect secret passages, sense subtle environmental changes, and sense when you're being followed or observed. It encompasses your ability to pick up on non obvious cues and the presence of hidden threats. So, if I am a dungeon master and I want to play to my character's strengths, yeah, I'm going to use exactly these. I'm going to put hidden objects in. I'm going to put a hidden passage. I'm going to have somebody be followed. And I can literally make an encounter based off a handful of words in the descriptions for these skills. So, awesome. Love it. Okay. One key feature, kind of bouncing around here, of Nimble is there is no roll to hit per se. You're going to roll damage on your damage dice, and that damage dice determines your to hit, basically, because whatever dice you're rolling, a d4 up to I think maybe a d12 is the highest. If you roll a 1, then you miss. And if you roll the highest number on the dice, then you crit and it explodes, and it can infinitely explode. So if you roll a d4 and you get a 4, roll it again. Now it's 4 plus whatever the next roll is. I am not smart enough, and if you listen to Evan's streams, he will even say he's not smart enough to run like high level things. I was very interested in the MCDM system that's coming out, but in the latest live stream I'm listening to him and he's like, I'm not smart enough to run the monster encounters. Like, I'm always missing something. He's as cool as it is, there's just too much going on. And so removing the roll to hit and the system that they have set up, I had a little brain fart there, and the system that they have set up is pretty awesome because it is having you really be able to be flexible in the weapon you want to use. I think we would all agree, if we've played D&D, no one ever takes a sling. There's the one guy in the back, probably Robert in the back. Okay. Yeah. Robert loves his sling, right? Okay, great. You can do so much with it. Okay. But nobody ever picks it. Right. And I think it was in a Hodgepodge episode I mentioned that make your weapons matter, make bludgeoning matter, make slashing matter, have those effects mean something. And so with let's say you pick a dagger, that's the lowest damage item on here. It's a D4. So what's your play style? Do you want to be, well, back it up. With that D4, you will be missing more often, but also critting, we'll just say critting more often. So what do you want? Do you want an average higher damage dice with a D6 or a D8? Or do you want that chance, roll that dice, gamble that I want to crit more, and maybe you can get advantages. You can stack advantages in here. So if you have advantage, it's not just roll 2d20 and take the highest. It's like roll 3 or 4. And so if you're rolling multiple dice with advantage, let's say somebody's helping you with your attack, then man, you can be chaining together some criticals, and that's awesome. We're going to come back and talk about the 3 action economy. That's kind of like Pathfinder's second edition's bread and butter. But this is a core mechanic, and Joel and I that are playing Baldur's Gate 3, we have said multiple times, missing is like the worst. And yes, you can still miss on a 1. Like, there should be a negative for rolling that low, but you rolling, or I should say you missing, is not going to happen that often, or as often, or feel as often as it does in 5th edition. Okay, bouncing around. I've said it multiple times. Along the ley line, go buy it. The reaction system is fantastic. Reactions are in here, and I probably said it when I went over this before in a hodgepodge. If your game doesn't have reactions, you're doing it wrong, right? Get with the times. Your players need to be engaged on offense and on defense, and you need to have reactions. So you can defend, which means you get to use your armor. We'll get into that later. You can interpose. You can push somebody out of the way and take the damage for them. And they say here that, yes, you can push somebody out of the way and you can defend, which means you can use your armor. One thing I'm not a fan of is opportunity attack. And it's even kind of like a little cheap in here. I'll read it. An opportunity attack. A melee attack with disadvantage. That's a nice thing that I like. When an adjacent enemy moves away. Okay, so if you're in combat and an enemy moves away, you can get an opportunity attack at them. It will cost you a reaction, and you do it at disadvantage. However, the biggest thing I don't like is monsters do not make opportunity attacks. Only heroes can use them. Really? Like, what's the justification for that? He would probably say, per the math, and keeping it compatible with 5th edition, however damage is being spread throughout the game, But there's no reason. And in fact, I would even say like a goblin is so scrappy, they're not going to just let you run past you or run past them. So if you run past them, they're going to want to attack you. I get it. I get it. I'm not sure. I'll have to read in the monsters. I don't think monsters get reactions, which is probably why that can't happen. And then my favorite reaction, defending is awesome, interpose is awesome, but help. And I'm going to read the description and the little blurb here. Okay. As a reaction, as part of your 3 action economy, you can grant an ally advantage on an attack, skill check, or save if you can reasonably explain to the GM how you could help in a given situation. Limit of 1 help reaction for each roll. The GM may call for a skill check or grant advantage automatically, depending on how good the idea is. All right, so you get rewarded for helping an ally. In the little blurb here, it says teamwork. Help as a heroic reaction is a fantastic way to bring teamwork, role playing, and creativity into a combat encounter. Did your buddy fail? Maybe not. Think quickly and see if you can help them succeed. I know when I ran a one shot for my friend Joel and my friend Grizz and my friend Jeff, there was an instance where, actually, you know what, I want to get this right. 5e Misty Step. I've had to look this up multiple times. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Target self. So, as brief as I can give this encounter, they were at the end boss, and my friend Grizz, who has like a broad awareness of D&D, he had never really played. To see him and the wheels turning in his brain of how he could be creative in this combat situation, he had said, okay, I want to cast Misty Step on Joel to send him on the other side of the room to distract the big bad evil guy. And then I want to, because this is a bonus action, and then as an action, I want to attack and whatever. I want to attack and just, I could have said in that moment, no, sorry, it says target self, you can't do it. And what he was trying to do is help, right? And in that moment, it was so cool as this total newbie player trying to be creative in the moment. And sure, I'll let it fly, go for it. And so I like here that if you can reasonably explain to the GM, and sure, maybe you want to poke your glasses up and say actually, but it's a game of make believe and it's magic, and maybe he's a master of the arcane arts, but well, if that's true, then he can morph it to how he wants, right? Rule of cool. We know that. It was great. But I like that it's built in here for Nimble. Okay. So, I mean, I don't want to go over everything here, but okay, let's go over short rests. Short rest, long rest, and let's see, are these better than 5th edition? Short rests require at least 15 minutes to catch your breath and tend to your wounds, but could also be a full night spent camping under the stars. Upon completing a short rest, you may spend any number of hit dice to regain HP equal to the sum rolled. If you rest at least 6 hours with food and sleep, roll the hit dice with advantage. Love it. Okay. You're taking a short rest. But if you go above and beyond and you take food and sleep, now you have rolling with advantage. And that's where I go with, it's not the formula, right? it just wouldn't fit in the formula, the mechanics of 5th edition to say, okay, well, long rest, short rest, it has to have for short rest to get an extra effect, food and rest. And why is that? I just don't know. Let me see if I can find the actual wording. 5e short rest. Okay, here it has to be at least an hour, which a character does nothing more strenuous than eating, drinking, reading, and tending to wounds. So they use that tending to wounds verbiage. A character can spend 1 or more hit dice. For each hit die spent this way, the player rolls the die and adds the character's constitution, so we don't have that. The character regains hit points equal to the total that we have. The player can decide to spend an additional hit die after each roll. Character regains some spent hit dice upon finishing a long rest, as explained below. Okay, so nothing about food, nothing about rest. And I know that that's been abused. It does say an hour, but I know I've let that slide. Like, yeah, sure, just after encounter, like even in Baldur's Gate 3, you just hit a button and bam, you get life back. You don't have to sit and do nothing for an hour. All right, let's see what long rest is. Long rest requires at least 6 hours of sleep in a safe place designated by your GM, typically lodging at an inn, but could also be at a secret oasis, a well stocked cabin in the woods, near a sacred shrine, or the like. Camping in the open wilderness or in a dungeon is not sufficient for gaining the benefits of a long rest. Kind of an OSR feel. I love that. After a long rest, heroes recover all of their HP, mana, and other class specific resources. We'll talk mana because they don't have spell slots. Heal 1 wound. Hopefully, we talk about wounds. And recover a number of hit dice equal to their strength, minimum 1. Long rests are a great opportunity for downtime activities as well. And then they go into downtime. Well, let's read 5th edition long rest. A long rest is a period of extended downtime, at least 8 hours long, during which a character sleeps or performs light activity, reading, talking, eating, or standing watch for no more than 2 hours. If the rest is interrupted by a period of strenuous activity, at least 1 hour of walking, fighting, casting spells, or similar adventuring activity, the characters must begin their rest again to gain any benefit from it. So I guess it doesn't say here that you can't be interrupted. At least 6 hours of sleep. If you don't get 6 hours, you don't get the benefit. At the end of the long rest, the character regains all his lost hit points. The character also regains spent hit dice. For example, if a character has 8 hit dice, he or she can regain. A character can't benefit from more than 1 long rest in a 24-hour period, and a character must have at least 1 hit point. Oh, where does it say spell slots here? The character must. At the end of a long rest, the character regains all hit points. It also regains all hit dice, up to a number of dice equal. Oh, interesting. So, spell slot. It doesn't mention spell slots. 5e long rest spell slots. Let's see, D&D Beyond. Wondering if recovering spell slots or changing spell lists is considered a benefit of a long rest. By default, a long rest does not restore spell slots because by default, a character does not have spell slots. Oh, okay, I guess that makes sense because not every character can cast spells. However, a cleric's spell casting feature adds the additional benefit of a long rest. Oh, okay. Preparing and casting. Okay, let's see. The clerk shows cast must expand. You prepare a list of spells of every cast using use them. Blah 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 blah. For example, blah blah blah. You can change your list of prepared spells when you finish a long rest preparing. A new list of cleric spells requires time spent in prayer and meditation, at least 1 minute per spell level for each spell on your list. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, so it's basically you get it with a rest. Also, I should probably have like a whole dedicated segment to this. I've played in a handful of campaigns. I've ran a campaign in my school clubs. I've ran campaigns and stories and one shots and whatever. And playing Baldur's Gate 3, I I need a segment on Heath is an idiot. I don't know where and when, but I know I have done concentration wrong forever. I thought if you cast a spell with concentration, you have to concentrate on that spell and you can't cast any other spell. No. I learned in Baldur's Gate 3 that is not true. When you cast a spell that requires concentration, you can't cast another spell that requires concentration. I I can't tell you I I'm an idiot. Okay? You heard it here first. I'm pretty sure when I played my paladin, I like messed up my divine smites and flame blade or something. I was like, well, this has concentration, so now I can't do anything, and I'm an idiot. So, all right, all of the different classes they have here. Some are unique to Nimble. Some are uh, a carryover from 5th edition. A berserker, that would be a barbarian. There's 2 subclasses. The cheat, that's a thief. I think these all have 2 subclasses. The cheat is the thief. Shadowmancer is kind of a necromancer, so that would be new. A shepherd, kind of like a druid, kind of. Commander, a battlefield tactician, leader, and weapon master. That would kind of be your fighter. A song weaver, that's your bard. Hunter is your rogue. Storm shifter, this is definitely your druid. Mage is mage. A zephyr, this is new. A disciplined, oh, well, I guess it's not. The name is completely different. That's what threw me for a loop. A disciplined martial artist with swift hands. So that's your monk. Oath Sworn is Paladin. And then something cool here that he's working on is some subclasses, special subclasses to choose at pivotal, oh my god, pivotal moments in a story. The Oathbreaker, Spellblade, Shadow Reaver, and the Beastmaster. So Oath Sworn, the opposite of that is the Oath Breaker. All right. Obvious example, you break your oath, now you're an oath breaker, your subclass changes, and you get different abilities. Ancestries or race, human, elf, dwarf, halfling, gnome. Then they have the exotics here that we already went over. Bun Bun, Dragonborn, Kobold. That's cool. I love that you can play that. I would love to play a goblin too. That would be fun. There are backgrounds that give you certain abilities. So let's say I was a cheat, which is like a thief. I probably have a criminal background. And let's just say I'm a wily underdog. Once per day, you may re-roll a failed strength-related roll, strength attack, strength save, might check, grapple check, and use another stat instead. Okay, classic wily underdog, Rocky Balboa. There's no way he's going to fight or beat Ivan Drago, but he's wily, he's scrappy, and he finds a way to get grit and take a beating, keep on ticking. That's what you get to do if you have this criminal, desperate background and you choose a wily underdog. Again, a lot of these, they may not fit the formula, but they have the flavor. Adventuring motivations, that's great. These are great for a backstory, like right away. Look at that art. Like dragons attacking the castle. It's perfect. Character sheet is pretty cool. Really simple. Half a page. I know he's working on tweaking that, making it different, but that's all you really need. Okay, let's go bounce it all around. That's what happens when I get excited. I am very excited for Nimble. When this comes out and somebody said, Heath, do you want to run a fantasy campaign? I'm torn between Nimble and Bare Bones Fantasy, which, if you've listened to any episodes, I praise the high heavens about how amazing Bare Bones Fantasy is. So, okay, let's go and talk about the 3-action economy. Heroes get 3 actions to attack, move around the battlefield, cast spells, etc. on their turn. Generally, doing any single thing in combat will cost 1 action. Some abilities are, quote, free and do not cost an action to perform. Some very strong spells or special abilities may take more time and thus cost more actions. All 3 actions recharge at the end of your turn, so there's no need to save them up. Spend them all in your turn, and when you're done, you get them all back. Use your actions to attack, and here's the exploding crits we've talked about. There's also rushed attacks. A hero may attack more than once on their turn, but these additional attacks are rushed, imposing 1 instance of disadvantage for each additional attack after the first, increasing the chance to miss and lowering the average damage for subsequent attacks. Any spell or abilities that can harm an enemy counts towards a rushed attack. Okay. Heath, why would you like that? Why would you want to have disadvantage stacked on? Okay. Well, if you've played 5th edition, this is how it works. The first turn, you move into combat, and then you never move again. Everybody clumps up, and then how it works or how it's worded, it still kind of boggles my mind because I guess it all happens at the same time, but my brain can't comprehend that. You have 6 seconds. Each turn is 6 seconds. And so first round, first turn, you rush into combat, you move, you attack, you do your bonus action, interact with object, etc. Okay? Round 2 comes around, well, you're not moving anymore. You are going to attack. Well, now, if you didn't waste the time moving, you should have time for something else. So, sure, let's rush an attack in. Yes, it's at disadvantage, so that stinks, but it makes sense. You don't have infinite time per turn, and it's better than nothing. It's better than, well, I can't move, so let's just get that out the window. And again, I've talked how I'm not a fan of opportunity attacks. That just discourages moving. So the 3-action economy is great. You can move, you can move, you can move, you can move, you can attack, you can move, you can get in position. You can attack, you can attack with disadvantage, you can attack with disadvantage, right? The likelihood of you hitting, not great, but if you have nothing else to do, go for it. So I think that is something that's really great. Also, so casting spells you can do, but you can also assess, and I'll read this. A great way to include creativity and role-playing moments in combat. If you need more information or an edge in combat, a hero can use an action to make a skill check to uncover information, spot a weakness or damage vulnerability, intuit enemy tactics, plans, etc. So, round 1, move, attack, hit. Or move, assess. All right, I've moved in the combat. I want to assess where's the weak point in the armor. Make your check, sure, dagger, attack. Maybe because you spent that action for this turn, you get to attack with advantage. Yes, your chances of hitting are improved, but you're not necessarily doing a ton more damage for that because you spent an action doing a non-combat action. Confused? Yeah. Evan, the author of this, even though he'll say he's not smart, he's smart. Definitely smarter than me. Okay, then we get into reactions. Reactions are amazing and great. I already went into those. They're great. This, right now, I'm in the core rules, and this is like how you play the game. Okay, they don't go into depth into character building, and that's going to be something else. And they don't go into depth into monsters because there are monster mechanics, but it is compatible with 5th edition. So just use your 5th edition monsters. In the newest live stream, he's talking about, I think he's calling them legendary monsters, and how you want to make these monsters have special moments, and there's a special way to run them differently in combat. But I won't get into that. Let's see. Bouncing around a lot, but yeah, multi-classing money. Oh, okay, yeah. Let's get into weapons and armor. So, starting equipment. Each hero starts with 40 gold to buy their starting equipment. Alternatively, you can roll for your starting gold, 2d4 times 10, or you can take your class pre-made loadout. So I'm going to go into depth into my hunter. So hunter, I get a short bow, which deals 1d6 plus dexterity, range 10 to 90 feet. I also get a hand axe, which deals 1d6 straight up, no bonus. I get cheap hides and 2 strange plants. What are strange plants? Well, that's up to you. Roleplay it. Work with the GM. Don't be crazy. This plant gives me 3,000 HP. I had a student come up to me, and maybe I'm a hater, but in my D&D club, he said, "Oh, Mr. Leiteritz, I figured out I can make a character do 600 damage in one turn. I get 8 attacks." And I'm like, I don't think that's like possible. "Oh, no, my DM says it's fine. I can do it." And I'm like, I'll be honest, that doesn't sound fun to me. And maybe I'm a hater. Sure, you can fight the Tarask. If you want to be like that, great, go for it. But when we get in the range, or when we, I feel like an old curmudgeon here. There's a time and a place to run a high level adventure, but I just got the vibes of like, come on, you got to earn it, pal. All right, I'm a hater. You can say it. Tweet at me. That roll around podcast guy, he's a hater. He hates his D&D club kids. Okay, let's see. I have a short bow, so that is 1d6 plus dexterity piercing, and as far as I know, piercing and bludgeoning, slashing, those don't mean anything. So I would still homebrew that those mean things. There are certainly weapon properties here, but I don't think those necessarily mean anything. So that's a bummer. And this would cost me 25 gold. It's two-handed. Got it. Okay. Now, armor is where it's a little tricky. So, in 5th edition, you have your armor class, which is your dexterity plus whatever armor you're wearing. And usually the heavier the armor, the more your armor class improves. But there's a trade-off. You lose your stealthing ability. Your dexterity goes down. Or it probably doesn't go down, but you don't get the bonuses of your dexterity, I think is how it works. Okay, so for my hunter, I had cheap hides. And when we get into the hero section, Because I'm a hunter, it demands I wear cheap hides. Okay, so my armor is actually damage reducing. Let me read what it says here exactly. Armor represents your hero's ability. I think there's a typo here. It should be ability to dodge or block damage. Your armor is typically dex plus any equipment or effects that may grant additional armor, and it reduces incoming damage only when you use the defend reaction, While unarmored or wearing regular clothes, your armor is equal to your dex. So it says here, defend yourself. If you're standing right next to a baddie with an axe and you're not doing anything to defend yourself, chances are you're going to get axed. Right? If you've used up all of your actions, because a reaction is an action, you're going to get hit. You have overextended your offense and left yourself open for defense. The clouds part. Oh, combat is dynamic. It's about making choices. I love it. So in my cheap hides, it would be 3 plus dex. And here's where my brain gets a little okay? So with my cheap hides, let's say my dexterity is 2. Then my armor is always going to be 5. Okay? Now, if I go to a dagger deals 1d4 plus their dexterity. So, I guess that is actually pretty balanced when I talk about it out loud. But let's see. So, I'm always blocking 5. And, well, I shouldn't say, yeah, I'm always blocking 5. And if they have a dagger, they are dealing, let's say, on average, plus dex, let's say it's 2, then they're dealing 4. So on average, statistically, for a low-level character, the armor is always going to block the dagger, okay? Well, here again, my brain, I'm figuring it out real time, just like Knave. So you are basically treating the hit as a miss. It's not dealing any damage, but technically it is a hit. Okay. So if there's only like 1 or 2 points of difference between the attack and the damage, then that's where the crits come in and the compounding that you can crit multiple times. If somebody has a short sword, okay, well now we're at 1d6 plus strength. Okay, well now we're at like an averaging of 6 versus my 5. And again, my armor is going to block a lot, but again, the genius of Nimble, let me go back up here. Actually, I don't have to. The genius of Nimble is, as it states, you only get the armor benefit if you use your defend reaction. And if we go back up to hero reactions, computer, you're embarrassing me. Keep up with the times. Reactions cost 1 action and are performed when it is not your turn. A hero can perform each reaction no more than 1 per round. And they will start their turn with fewer actions. So you could... oh, you know what? Okay, interesting. Yeah, so... I wonder if you could do it on the opposite. If you could, rather than use all 3 of your actions, save one for a reaction. I believe it says you cannot do that. All 3 actions recharge at the end of your turn. So I guess you can't. You would just start the next turn, which makes sense. Yeah, I got it. That makes sense. So, but you can only defend once. You can only use the defend reaction 1 time. So let's scroll down. Yeah. So, yes, your armor may be absorbing a lot of the damage. However, you can only effectively use your armor one time. So if you're getting ganged up on, that could be pretty deadly. I don't know how a swarm mechanic would work in here. If you can just block, well, I guess it technically attacks in a group. So, but yeah, a lot of this would need to be play tested by me, but I think it just makes sense. Get rid of the attack to hit or the roll to hit. Damage dice is either hit, damage, or critical. Shields give you a little buff here to your damage reduction. But okay, I guess here's something that I was still a little iffy on. All right. I don't think this is that crazy to get dragon scale. Actually, no, let's go down to plate. Requires 5 strength. So, we know this. We should know this. Player or GM, when you're at level 1, right, you are fighting level 1 monsters. When you get up to level 2, you are fighting level 2 monsters. You have more hit points, you do more damage. Well, you're fighting creatures that have more hit points and deal more damage. So they scale equally. But to have armor of 22, in my first reading of this, I thought, come on. No, none of these weapons deal 22 points of damage. So a great sword here is 3d4 plus strength. So at most, it's going to deal 17 damage, right? Well, you have 22. You're just sitting back and you are absorbing all of the damage. What? It doesn't make sense. But you can only use your armor as a reaction one time. So save it for the big blow that's coming, right? Combat is chaotic, lots going on. You can't necessarily block every incoming attack. All right. I think that's enough for the core rules. Let's get into the heroes, the actual characters. And I think this is really where flavor or over formula shines. So we're going to talk the hunter. In Nimble, your characters can go up to 20 because it is compatible with 5th edition. And so beautiful art for all of these characters. Gives you an awesome little background about why you would want to be a hunter, kind of like a role play narrative story, but then it gives you the mechanics. You're a really good tracker, you're a master of the wild, and you're good from afar and up close. So, remember, this is a 3 action economy. Level 1 hunter. You get Hunter's Mark. That comes right out of 5th edition. But there is no action and bonus action. It's just action, 3 actions. So, Hunter's Mark costs 1 action. A creature you can see within 200 feet. I don't know what Hunter's Mark really is, but 200 feet is far. You know what? Let's see if we can find that out. 5e Hunter's Mark. It targets a creature you can see within range. Okay, well, let's go down this rabbit hole. How far can the average human see in daylight? Please be 200 feet. Miles and miles on a clear day. You can see for up to 3 miles before the horizon. Okay, yeah. What do we got here? Give me something else. 3 miles. Wait, what is this? The Earth curves about 8 inches per mile? Wow, that's wild. Facts. Science. 3 miles away? With no physical obstruction? Okay, well, I'm learning. A creature you can see within 200 feet is marked as your quarry for 1 day or until you mark another creature. It cannot be hidden from you, and your weapon attacks against it deal an additional level damage. Okay, so remember I said like your armor is blocking a lot of it. Well, right off the bat here, level 1, you're going to be doing an extra 1 damage. Is it a lot? No. But it's going to be per level and it's per attack. So you can attack 3 times here. But round 1, let's see, I'm a hunter, okay? And I've got my short bow, okay? Round 1, I'm going to use my movement to get in position. Action. Action 2, hunter's mark, right? Action 3, attack. Level 1, I did stuff. Right? Hunter's mark, I believe, is an action. So how boring is it? Let's see. Let's confirm that. Hunter's mark is a bonus action, you dirty dog. You dirty dog. Is that from... That could be from the new edition. Is Hunter's mark an action? Oh, well, you know. You got me. Hunter's mark turns after casting it. I understand that casting it is a bonus action, but it's only a bonus action during the initial casting of it. I must be thinking of something else. Why else would one bonus action only need to cast, then concentrate on the spell? No need to continue using the bonus action to cast it again. That only happens if the creature you marked as your quarry is dead. Oh, okay. All right. I'm sorry. Guy in the back, Richard. All right? Sorry. But I stand by my 3 action economy, right? Move, Hunter's Mark, attack. I guess you can do that in 5th edition. Also, you are a forager. You gain advantage on skill checks to find food and water in the wild. All right, let's bump up to level 5. Let's see. Final takedown. You can spend 1 Thrill of the Hunt charge and an action. That comes from your subclass, I do believe. Think of it as like fighter. What are those fighter dice called? Superiority die? It's kind of like that. Spend 1 Thrill of the Hunt charge and an action. Make a melee attack against your bloodied quarry. Bloodied means less than half their hit points left. It counts as an automatic critical and doubles the damage of your hunter's mark. If they survive, they crit you back. Oh, wow. Final takedown. So you're going all out. You are doing the final takedown. It's the final countdown, baby. I'm going all out on my attack. But if you don't kill them, wow, they crit you back. That's cool. It's all about choices. Do I want to do this now? Let's see. Veteran Stalker. Gain 1 additional Thrill of the Hunt charge whenever you kill your quarry. Awesome. Secondary stat increase. Great. Let's go to level 10. Veteran Stalker 2. Gain a Thrill of the Hunt charge whenever you are first bloodied in an encounter and whenever you gain a wound. Okay. That's is what it is. Let's see. 15. You can see that level 1, 2, 3, 5, these have long explanations, and then they really thin out here on the top end. They're just like, yeah, you get extra stat increases and something else, not a stat, nothing too major. But let's go for level 20, Epic Hunter. Increase any 2 of your stats by 1.
Your hunter's mark can target any number of creatures simultaneously. Oh, did he update this? Oh, no. Let's go down to hunter's mark. Yeah. Okay. So, at level 20, is this a good final capstone ability? So, when you mark somebody for hunter's mark, you deal an additional level damage. Okay? So, every monster that's in battle right now, you can mark them as your hunter's mark, and as long as you hit them with an attack, you can deal 20, just automatic 20 damage to them. Sounds pretty good to me. Okay, Thrill of the Hunt. So these are like a menu of options that you can pick. There are subclasses, the Primal Stalker and the Survivalist. I don't need to go into all of these. Just go back it. Let's search it up. Let's see. 5e Nimble. Right here. Backer kit. Let's go over the prices. Pledge levels. So I'm at digital. No, okay. I'm at $25 digital. Call me poor. That's fine. No shipping. $25. I get everything. $39 for soft covers plus shipping is probably like $15. So now we're at $55 when I could save $30 and print it myself. Okay, seems worth it to me. The premium box set, all 3 books in a beautiful hardcover. I love that it's A5. But then I get all these spell cards, magic item cards. I don't care about that. $95 plus shipping. Now we're at, let's just say, $125. And that's a little too rich for my blood. If you could get rid of all this extra stuff and just give me the 3 books, I don't even need the box set. 3 books, and it was $75. Take 20 off for that. Now we're at, maybe $80, $90 for shipping. That's, probably still a little high. I guess for me personally, I would say 60. Give me 60. Now we're at $70 for the set. 70, 75. 75 is, with shipping, is where I would cap, where I think it's worth it to me to get the physical stuff. But maybe you love it even more than me and you want those spell cards. Go for it. Nimble, I think it's great. Go give us subscribe on Nimble Co. Evan's awesome dude. Super great in the videos and his live streams. Let's go click lives here. He's got good thumbnails. Like literally interacting with the audience the entire time, taking suggestions, saying, "Hey, email me that. I'll put that in the game." Like it's one dude but he's relying on the community. It's great. It's great. Go check it out. Nimble's awesome. I want to run it. I want it in my hand. I want to see the final version. It's great stuff. Keep being creative. See you in the next episode. Later.